Tonight, we're here to pay tribute to someone very dear to us, Naren Gupta. He was our longtime beloved advisory board member. His family is here with us in the front row. Vinita, Annika, and those that are close to him, we thank you for sharing him with us. And to talk more about Naren, please welcome our honorary chair, Jack Wadsworth.
Margaret, thank you very much. I love this evening at the Asia Society. It is one of those evenings where, in fact, we learn a lot. We're forced to think a lot. And I am particularly honored at this moment to have the opportunity to speak about Naren Gupta. Let me say before I start, a friend, a genius, and I would say the ultimate game changer. Quite a story. We miss Naren so much, and there are others not in this room who miss him, and we are pleased to honor him. One entrepreneur who crossed his path said Naren was kind, he was smart, his life story inspired a generation. Naren's inspiration and generosity to the Asia Society in Northern California was recognized by a resolution that the board passed at the January board meeting. Naren joined our organization as an advisory board member in 2012. His joining inspired others in the thought leader category to follow him into our community and to support our work as he did. The resolution concluded with, quote, "Thanks for his exemplary leadership, boundless energy, passion, and generous commitment as the Asia Society Northern California entered its next phase of growth and impact, which he helped to inspire," end quote. We will recognize his many contributions later this evening with a fund, an India-focused program series that will be announced later tonight. After a distinguished academic career in which he showed genius in every turn, the chairman and president of Caltech, where he was a board member, said he believed fiercely in the power of fundamental research and the contributions that over the years students could make. Naren was an extraordinary, creative, and energetic trustee, and truly a wonderful gentleman. His keen understanding of the power of technology to propel global harmony and economic growth challenged all of us to consider new ways Caltech could expand its beneficial impact at home and around the world. He founded Integration Systems in 1980 and was CEO until it was sold to Intel in the late 90s. He then founded Nexus Ventures to focus on startup technology companies in India, and that was 2006. At the same time, my son Chris Wadsworth and I were starting a similar fund in China called Cheiyuan Ventures. A friend of ours suggested we should meet and compare notes. Following a long lunch at the village pub in Woodside, we shook hands on becoming mutual investors in each other's fund. Our serendipitous meeting was like love at first sight, or at least compatibility as investors at first sight. We both shared a passion for entrepreneurs and startup investing. we demanded trust and teamwork from the startups we chose to invest in. As the late George Schultz, who was our honorary board chair, taught us, trust is the coin of the realm. How I wish Naren and I could be together right now to compare the rate of return in our two funds to see who would be ahead. Not to say that we were competitive at all. At this lunch, I came to know a man whose values, passion, integrity, and genius I came to respect and cherish more and more every day. We shared the belief that new science and entrepreneurship would create the new companies of the next generation, depending upon science that has not been discovered yet. These companies will apply and solve many of the challenges we face in the world today, including climate change, healthcare, and global stability. We pondered, where do entrepreneurs come from? They come from cultures that encourage creativity, risk-taking, and the courage to accept failure. The other ingredients in the secret sauce are money and mentorship. Naren believed that successful venture capitalists would treat their entrepreneur investees as partners, and that the partners in the fund should mentor these entrepreneurs and not to treat them as adversaries. This is a big new idea in the world of venture, in the world of risk-taking investing, and Naren Gupta was one of the most ardent advocates with Nexus in mind. Naren will live in our memories and hearts forever.
To continue his legacy, we're announcing a slate of new India-focused programs in Naren's name. On June 23rd, we'll host a half-day conference in Silicon Valley with our partners at Thai and Indiaspora. In August, we're partnering with our Asia Society Center in Mumbai on the 75th anniversary of India. And in September, we're hosting a business and investment event with Nexus Venture Partners and Asia Alternatives. And we're going to continue to do that series for 2 years. Now, to share more about Naren, please welcome two community leaders and partners to say a few words. Jishnu Bhattacharjee, Managing Director at Nexus Venture Partners, and AGK, President of Thai. Please welcome them to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. And first of all, a big thank you to Asia Society for paying such wonderful tribute to the legacy of Naren Gupta to contribute, to celebrate Naren's prolific contribution to India's entrepreneurial ecosystem and to global entrepreneurship at large. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today as we celebrate and remember Naren's life. I am Jishnu Bhattacharjee, Managing Director at Nexus Venture Partners, the venture capital firm that Naren co-founded. I am grateful that I had the opportunity to work with Naren as his business partner, learned from him, and shared the office with him on a daily basis for the last 14 years. On behalf of my colleagues at Nexus Venture Partners, I am honored to share our thoughts here. It is very hard to believe that Naren is no more, but Naren lives on in our hearts, the genius who profoundly touched, inspired, and changed countless lives for the better. After achieving highest level of academic excellence at IIT, Caltech, and Stanford, Naren's startup journey began in early days of technology entrepreneurship in Silicon Valley. He was one of the first founding CEOs of Indian origin to take his company Integrated Systems public in the US. Then as an angel investor, he leveraged his company building acumen to help promising founders realize their dreams. After writing many first checks to technology entrepreneurs, Naren co-founded Nexus Venture Partners in 2006 with a vision to bring company building expertise and risk capital to Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem. He helped build the firm into a leading investment institution in India and globally, where he got to touch the lives of thousands. Today, with over $2 billion under management, more than 100 invested companies, and over $40 billion of market value creation, Nexus has emerged as a leading venture capital firm serving entrepreneurs in India and the United States. Naren was the quintessential champion of entrepreneurs. He was naturally inclined to identify and back first-time entrepreneurs who are not afraid to traverse the uncharted territory, who are not afraid to fail. He would push them to dream big, think beyond the obvious, and remind them that company building journey is a marathon, not a sprint, and would stand behind companies through thick and thin. He would counsel them on how a company could be killed by overfunding, and that it is critical to keep focus on fundamentals. Every interaction had to add value, even though he didn't back them. He was always punctual and courteous and mindful of their time. He genuinely cared for every entrepreneur he met and truly wanted them to succeed. He was always available and generous with his time. Despite his achievements, there was never a feeling of entitlement with Naren. He always exemplified humility after success. He would always welcome differing opinions and treat everyone with utmost respect, be it an engineer or the CEO of a company or a budding investment professional. Naren had an intense intellectual curiosity and passion for life. An avid reader and listener of audiobooks, he was willing to engage in an intellectual conversation on almost any topic under the sun, from number theory to Indian politics, from winemaking to child rearing. When Indrani and I were expecting our firstborn, Naren gave us tips. Never try to control your kid, or else you will lose whatever control you may have. And that you would learn from your kids more than they would from you. Well said, Naren. We are seeing this in action with our 9-year-old and 7-year-old today. Naren wanted to experience as much of the world as he could with a travel bucket list ranging from Jerusalem to Jodhpur, from Patagonia to Paris, from Alaska to Antarctica. Naren's zest of life was palpable in everything he would do. He enjoyed his morning hikes or whipping up scrambled eggs for breakfast as much as he did his playing competitive bridge on the World Forum. His childlike laughter, bright wit, and fun-loving nature endeared himself to everyone he engaged with, including children. We lost a visionary. We lost a mentor, a dear, dear friend, but the gentle genius lives on in our hearts. Naren leaves behind an unmatched legacy for us to carry forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Asia Society and its leadership, to bring us all together to honor Naren as a game changer. My name is AGK Karunakaran. I'm the president of TIE Silicon Valley. TIE is an organization that was started back in 1992 by the entrepreneurs, for the entrepreneurs, mostly South Asian back then. And TIE was the only game in town when an entrepreneur like me, back in the day was, or wannabe entrepreneur I should say, how should I try to become an entrepreneur? And TIE was really like a school. You go there, and there are a lot of stalwarts here who are part of the TIE community, and there's a great connection between Asia Society and TIE, which I'll talk about in a moment. And I was very fortunate to have the access to successful entrepreneurs like Naren and others that gave me the courage. If they can do it, I can also do it. So that's how I got started. And today, I'm very humbled to represent TIE to talk about Naren and his, as we celebrate Naren's recognition today. So when we talk about Asian ideas, Ikigai come to my mind, right? Ikigai is a Japanese concept which gives a person a sense of purpose or reason for living. Ikigai happens when passion, profession, vocation, and mission overlaps and they all come together. It's a perfect intersection. Naren is a wonderful example for Ikigai. To my knowledge, Naren was passionate in everything he did. He had an amazing academic and professional career. It's in every metric, if you can think of it, he had phenomenal or stellar outcomes. And he delivered that for himself, his family, and the people around him who he had influenced. And as we saw in the video and what Jishnu talked about, Naren, in my opinion, has the work hard, play hard, and help others approach to life. Many charter members of TIE have told me about their experiences because they had stayed together. They've been around a lot longer than me. I was fresh off the board, and I came here not to study like many others. I came directly to work. But these experiences with charter members who have told me about Naren is what I'm going to share. They've started companies together. They have vacationed together. They've helped each other in terms of taking their kids skiing and having fun when everybody was growing up together. I first knew him through TIE, and I was an entrepreneur. I'd started my company, but we heard about integrated systems, which is one of the pioneer in the embedded systems, embedded operating systems. And there used to be a trade show called Embedded Systems Conference. And I always remember him for his characteristic stroll. He'll walk around the entire conference, get to know what are the new technologies. It doesn't matter, even though he's the king of the hill at that point in time, because Wind River or ISI and Wind River are one of the top embedded systems operating system company, and later on they got acquired by Intel. I learned a lot by having interactions with him back then. But he was also very, very instrumental in influencing many of us in TIE, because we had, in the mid-2000s, we had a TIE CEO forum. And in that CEO forum, he used to come, and for many of us were first-time CEOs, and back then, there was always this notion of, hey, they'll try to replace the Indian CEO in second round and third round of financing. He says, no, we can go all the way. And he used to mentor all of us. And he gave us a very, very inspirational discussion with those 30 CEOs back then. And many of us proceeded to continue to be the CEO, sell our companies, and have become serial entrepreneurs. So a big round to Naren for doing that. And that's about the, how he has influenced the TIE community, right? But he is also fun-loving, as you saw from the video that we just saw. He's an avid hiker, and I've heard about his hiking experiences through interactions, and I wish I could do that as he has progressed in his life also, the desire to travel that many countries. There are a lot of things that are common. Other thing that's very, very important about Naren is that he gave back to the community. So I think I saw India Community Center CEO here. He's been a very, he and Naren and Vinita, they've supported many causes. India Community Center is one of them, to bring the entire community together. And he's also been involved with many causes. As you know, he's associated with Asia Society, but he's also associated with Foundation for Excellence that gave out scholarship for underprivileged college kids in India, and many such causes. So it's really work hard, play hard, and help others. And Naren is a great example of that. And if you all heard, he started from his academic career to entrepreneur career to venture capital career. He started Nexus. We heard from Jishnu, and they've created phenomenal companies delivering products and services for global customers. And we heard a lot from Jishnu on that. So together, we should wish Nexus a bright future as they continue and carry on the legacy of Naren. So as I said, there's a broad, good connection between Asia Society and TIE. There are common board members. I think Andy Sau is there. He's our board member at TIE Silicon Valley, but he's also on your board. And Bakul, Joshi, and many people who have been associated with Asia Society over the years. And we should continue that relationship for the years to come. And there may be others I may not be aware of between the Thai community or Indian community in general. We should leverage each other. Thai is all about entrepreneurship, and any way we can connect together and support entrepreneurship, we would look forward to working with all of you. Thank you very, very much.
Yes, that's the beautiful thing about Naren is he was involved in so many organizations. Just having him in the room would bring everybody together like tonight. So thank you, Jishnu, and thank you, AGK. And now, please welcome to the stage Vinita Gupta.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be fairly brief. Naren would have been absolutely delighted with this special honor bestowed on him, and I am humbled by it. Thank you, Asia Society, for putting this program in his honor. Obviously, he was special to me in a different way than what you heard. We were, just to give a glimpse of our relationship, we pushed each other. We were married for 47 years, and he passed away almost 4 months back on Christmas Day last year. I think our joint accomplishment was we pushed each other heavily, and I would admit that we didn't always do it gracefully. What I can confidently say about his journey is Naren was measured in his approach, but also a big risk taker. He took risks in his profession till he went away, so he was willing to roll the dice over and over. And I'm sure Nexus team would agree with me on that front. Also, when the going got tough, the tough got going is what applied to him. He was very good in the most tough situations. That was my witnessing. Secondly, he had a knack of zooming in and zooming out of a situation dependent on what the need be. And that served him very well. I also witnessed and admired him growing professionally and in his and our philanthropic efforts, individually as well as together. We grew as a result of that. We were not doing that to share our wealth, which obviously we were fortunate to do, but we grew through those involvements, and Asia Society obviously was one of them. It occupied a very special place in his heart. The international dialogue that took place, and I witnessed some of those meetings, Asia Society played an important role in shaping his views on how business could be conducted across the country's boundaries, whether it was US, China, and he was bringing the India footprint in the fold. And of course, the countries have different cultures and regulatory constraints. He also believed being different is a strength and not a weakness. Jack, I'm not sure where you are sitting at the moment. Thank you. Thank you very much for the honor. He really respected you. Nexus team, Jishnu, Abhishek, their spouses, Naren planted the seed, but he also believed that you are the guys who will take the torch forward, and he had full confidence that that would happen. So thank you for that. And AGK, thank you for being a spokesperson on behalf of Indian entrepreneurial community. And I thank you all for your presence.
Thank you, Vinita. Thank you, Jishnu, AGK, and Jack. We appreciate the support from our friends in the community at TIE, Nexus, Indiaspora, ICC, IIT, Westbridge, and Silicon Valley Bank. If you want to hear more about the programs that we're planning for Naren, or if you want to join us, we have a blurb about it in our program on page 6. Vinita, we are going to do our very best to carry out his legacy. We miss him.